Very often people ask, how do I become free from my anxiety, my fear, my worrying? And this is sort of the wrong question. It keeps you focused on the actual anxiety. They want to do something with the anxiety. They say, what do I do with my fear? But the problem isn't at the level of fear itself. We actually have to go deeper into what the anxiety and fear are rooted in. Anxiety and fear are rooted in the unconscious need to think about your life. The unconscious attachment to one possibility that must happen in the future, or the unconscious resistance towards many possibilities that may happen in the future. So this inner need to control your existence, the stronger it is, the stronger the anxiety. Today I'm going to share a quote with you from Ramana Maharshi. It contains an attitude within it that we're going to apply to our lives. That's going to dissolve anxiety at its root. Today's talk will be half an explanation of what that is, and half it's going to be a guided meditation that walks you into the experience of it. If you apply the teachings in today's videos and you stay consistent with it, you will empty your mind of all fear, of all worry, of all resistance, and you will just stop living so much in the future. So it's a very, very powerful talk. Please listen to the whole thing and practice. That is the most important thing. Here it goes. Enjoy. So this is a book on Ramana Maharshi's teachings. It's a new book that I ordered for my trip. And a question was posed to him. The question is, can meditation or self-inquiry be carried on in the midst of worldly activity? And so he answered, the feeling I am working is the hindrance. Inquire, who works? Remember to ask yourself, who am I? Every time such false notions of doership trouble you, then no work can bind you. It will all go on automatically. Make no effort either to work or to renounce work. Your effort is the bondage. Simply, perpetually remain as you are. Mind merged in its source so as to be indistinguishable from the beingness of the self. And do not bother about the question of whether the body ought to work or to idle away. If you remain non-attached, neither attached nor detached, for both are voluntary actions, then the body's destiny will effortlessly carry it through whatever activities are meant for it in its life. You remain surrendered to the self. Everything else disappears. No more questions, doubts, or misgivings arise. This is the way for unshakable peace. So the reason I say that today's guidance is about worry and living in trust, letting go of fear, is because all of our fears are rooted in personal identity, rooted in this notion of doership. I am the doer. And the I that is defined in that statement is the person I take myself to be. So the main part that I want to go over today, and of course, we're going to extend this discussion on Saturday, but the main part that I want to do a guidance on today is forget about what it is meant to be done on the level of the body, on the level of action. Simply, perpetually remain as you are. Mind merged in its source so as to be indistinguishable from the beingness of the self. So we are just used to having the mind immersed in worry, fear, future projection, past projection, constantly creating an idea of me and my life. constantly focused in the things I want or don't want, whether they're working out or not, whether I will be protected the next step or not. So this is a big ball of mess, and the mind is scattered in all of these directions. What we're learning to do here is we're taking the mind away from all of those things, and we are merging it in the beingness of the self. We live under a false impression that if I pursue my fears and if I try to work out in my head how I will be taken care of and if I will be taken care of at this step and that step, that that is something that is useful for us, that is protecting us. But now we are learning to let go of this mirage, and we are, rather than being scattered in that worry, we're learning to bring it back into the beingness of the self. This is the birthplace of clarity, wisdom, intelligence, peace. And from it, there will be like an allowing of the body's destiny to unravel the way that it's meant to. Okay. So feel free to close your eyes. Again, if at any time we do get disconnected, I will connect back as soon as I can, and then we'll proceed from there. But just meditate through it. The more we allow the destiny of the body, the destiny of the person that I appear to be, to unravel without fearing where it's going, the more I am at peace. The easier meditation becomes. Realizing this, see any content that is arising in the mind right now, and don't be so interested. Anchor your mind in your sense of being. I am. Your sense of being is the home of trust, of harmony. The worrying mind, the fearful mind, is a diseased mind. The way to heal this diseased mind is by anchoring it in the beingness of the self. You now have to start to see the uselessness of endlessly worrying about your future. And you have to replace that interest with self-awareness, awareness of self. I am. Bring the attention to attention itself. This place is free from all conceptualization, all personal notions. There's no past or future in beingness. Even the thoughts that are arising right now, like, how do I do this? Am I doing this right? Even these concerns take attention away from, take interest away from. Don't feel so compelled to pursue those concerns. Don't be so quick to assume that to be what you are. Once again, just notice your beingness, your sense of self. Your feeling of I. Little by little, this practice of just bringing the mind back home into the heart, into the beingness, it will gradually heal this diseased mind. It will purify this mind. Of all fear, worry. And little by little, it starts to open up a new dimension of what we are. Prior to the person. Right now, we fear so much about our future because it is my future, me, the person's future. But through this practice, the more this self-knowledge about my true identity opens up to me, the more I'm able to see things as they are without a sense of ownership and identification. The more open I am to experience going any way that it must. And such a mind cannot fear. So realizing that what binds you is your very own significance that you attribute to me and mine. When these concerns arise, turn away. Pay attention instead to your beingness. Simply, perpetually remain as you are. Mind merged in the source so as to be indistinguishable from the beingness of the self. In the moment that you notice, I am, your feeling of self, mind is merged in its source. It no longer stands apart as a distinguishable thought or activity. You are not the concerned mind. You are the seer of it. Instead of being so interested in the concerns of the mind, instead of identifying with them, notice the very real awareness of the mind, the seeing of the mind. The seeing is inseparable from the beingness. Notice that this beingness is utterly silent. It does not have a vested interest in what happens in your experience. In the moment you notice your beingness, in the moment you notice I am, the noisy concerns and fears of the mind go silent. Even if the mind is noisy right now and perhaps afraid of not understanding this, notice that even that is activity that you yourself observe to come and go. You are not that activity. You are not that concerned mind. Notice that silent seeing, that silent being. That is the position of trust, of wisdom, of acceptance. That is what this excerpt that I read out to you, Ramana Maharshi is recommending to remain as you are in your true position of beingness. And from that, the destiny of your body will unfold and unravel as it is meant to. But you will not suffer it, the good or the bad. He said, this is the way for unshakable peace. Peace that is not circumstantial, that does not depend on conditions. Peace that is prior to pleasant sensations or feelings. Have a firm conviction in your heart that this peace is not something to be gained. It is available in every single moment, but it requires a trade-off. You have to trade your concerns, your personal concerns, for I am. If you become more willing to make this trade-off, practicing it because our current habits are against it, so it must be practiced, then this ever-growing noticing of that peaceful dimension, call it, starts to become more and more self-evident in the midst of experience. Regardless of what you find the body is doing or not doing. Throughout this whole journey, anything personal or spiritual, whenever you find the mind is concerned and fearful, merge it into this beingness. And you will find again and again that all is taken care of for you. What you need will find you when you need it. And more importantly, the door to self-knowledge becomes open. As long as we remain occupied with personal concern, me and mine, it remains closed. But when we start to make this trade-off, it becomes open and available for us to walk through with our noticing. So that is the essence of today's message. Today's guidance wasn't necessarily, supposed to guide you to any sort of deep state or whatever. It was just to help you obviously, clearly see that all concern is not only useless in a practical sense, for it doesn't create any good, but also it continues to close that door to wisdom and self-knowledge. It continues to entangle you in personal identity. Therefore, seeing the uselessness of it in the moment when it feels even the hardest, make that trade-off, trade your concern. It does feel like I have to take a leap of faith in order to do it, but take that leap of faith and be willing to turn away from concern and turn towards the place of trust, which is your very own feeling of self, I amness, beingness. And we keep merging the mind again and again in this beingness. And this helps us continue to see that my life is being, or the destiny of this mind and body is being orchestrated through an intelligence that is not here, right? Everything is happening as it should. What I need is brought at whatever time it is needed. But more importantly, it starts to help us become more established in our true position prior to personal interest of gain and loss. I hope that this video helped you. Please practice very consistently. I'm giving away a free resource right now which is going to help you go deeper into this teaching. It's my self-inquiry guide. I'll leave the link down below. You can download it for completely free, okay? Along with that, if you want my personal help to go deeper into this teaching faster, if you want a sense of community to be connected with others who are also practicing the same teaching, join our School of Awakening community. I'll link that down below as well. Again, I hope you gained a ton of value from this video. I will see you next time.